Cool. So welcome to, we're doing resonance-based coaching. Today, we're going to talk about what it is and coaching industry in general and transformational coaching. We're going to share a little bit about our journey. I'm Kai Jordan, and I've been a transformational coach for just about 6 years. I've been in kind of the healing industry before that for 5 years. So it's been about a decade now. I've been working with clients on a transformational level. And we have Chris. Chris, why don't you let him know a little bit about yourself? We're going to go more in depth here.
Yeah, hello everyone. For those that don't know me, my name's Chris Jackson, and I've also been in this industry for about 6 years. Well, I've actually been in the transformation industry my entire life, but officially for the last 6 years, passionately. And yeah, Kai and myself, we've joined forces in our company that we've just branded as Resonance Coaching Academy. So that's the whole philosophy of what we're bringing to coaching is coaching from a place of resonance, coaching from a place of connection, connecting with our true selves. And it's a deeper, more intuitive approach to not just coaching, but also how we live our life. So we're excited to share with you a little bit about how when you're in tune with life, when you're in resonance with life, coaching is a natural skill set that flows from that. So that's what we're excited to share with you today.
Yeah, now before we kind of dive in and share a little bit about ourselves more, I'm really curious, for those of you who showed up today, what drew you into this conversation? What is it that you were hoping to find out or get to know or understand? Are you guys on your coaching journey already, or are you about to embark upon it? If you guys wouldn't mind just typing in the chat for those of you who haven't already been a part of our work, because we have some of the participants who've already gone through our training in this call. But for those of you who haven't, if it's your kind of first time or you haven't worked with us personally, what are you hoping to get from today's call? And even for those of you who are a part of our group and community already, is there something you'd like to get from this call as well? All right, so Robert, he says, learning to stand in my no. Okay. And what do you think that would get for you if you were able to do that? Clara, why don't you introduce me to you guys? I'm generally curious about your approach and to hear more about it. My background, I'm a clinical psychologist. Wonderful. I'm more curious about kind of more transformational coaching and a new perspective. Wonderful. Well, that's great to have you here, Clara. And I think it's going to be really interesting and intriguing already coming from a background of psychology. It's going to be really interesting for you. So great. Robert, so in terms of your question, what would standing in your no give you? More authority within the conversation, honoring my time and energy, and only giving myself to the projects that I really love instead of people pleasing. Cool. Bolton, about ready to move forward finally. Got distracted by many things like getting married and having a baby. Yeah, I have a 10-month-old, actually he's 11 months old as of yesterday. I know what it's like. And I took on like 2 or 3 projects right when he was being born. Had a men's group start, had this project start, had another relationship program start. It's been wild, but it's really great that you're here. And you said you've been thinking about us guys and getting back into this lately, and then saw the email and knew you had to get on the call. Cool. Well, it's wonderful to have you here, Colton, and looking forward to sharing what we have planned for you today. Heidi, I love to connect with beautiful souls anytime, anywhere in the vortex created by the amazing Chris and Kai. Thanks, Heidi. We really appreciate it. And it's so nice to have you as a part of this community, as an active member, very active member in our work. So wonderful. Okay, well, I'll read off a couple more comments if they come through, but just to give you a little bit of an overview, we're going to share a little bit about our story so you can understand where we come from in terms of how we look at kind of transformational coaching and just our journey in getting into it. And then we're going to share with you what we actually do, like how we help people and how we look at transformational coaching on a bigger picture. And then we're going to kind of open it up for some of our people who have gone through our program to share a little bit about their experience. And then we're going to go into the details of what this type of coaching methodology is, how it works, what kind of results people can see, and just go more in depth into this conversation of what is transformational coaching and why would you want to become one, or why would you want to explore this? And then we're going to go a little bit deeper, even further. So Chris, maybe I'll hand it off to you if you want to kind of talk a little bit about when you started, and then we'll go from there.
Yeah, nice one, Kai. Well, it's awesome to have all you guys here, and I'm excited to share the next hour with you guys, just under an hour together. And I first started my journey, actually, I used to be an engineer. So I used to be a project engineer, a mechanical engineer. I was very much caught up in my left brain. I was all about science and analysis. And I spent a decade of my life working in a job or a career that I was good at, but I didn't particularly resonate with. I knew it wasn't the reason why I was born. It wasn't born to be an engineer. I was born to be something else. So maybe you might be able to resonate with perhaps maybe either being in a career at some point in your life and knowing that it's just not for you, and knowing that there's something more for you. And there was always that sense in my heart that I knew that there was something more for me to be and to do in this world, to make a greater contribution. My suspicion is that if you're on this call today, then there's probably a sense that you've got in your heart that you're here for more than just working in a job just to pay the bills. You're probably wanting to be here to make some kind of contribution in the world, express your passion, be the expression of a higher purpose in the world. So I realized that I was here for more. I sort of woke up about 6 years ago. A relationship that I was in at the time catastrophically failed. And then I have devoted most of the waking hours of the last 6 years towards understanding myself, understanding the nature of consciousness, understanding what makes the human being do what we do, and understand how do we optimize the human being, how do we transform our human experience and become fundamentally more loving, more aligned, more in tune humans. So that's been my journey. On my journey, I've studied a whole range of different things, from NLP and hypnosis, a whole range of different modalities of psychology, and more recently have discovered psycho-spiritual principles, which Kai and I will touch on today, which we a lot of us will refer to the principles, or the three principles as defined by Sydney Banks. Anyway, that's a whole nother conversation. But since I've discovered the principles, my coaching has completely transformed. I've gone from coaching from a recipe book or coaching from a series of techniques to now being completely in tune with my intuition and coaching based upon the connection that I have in the moment with my client. And that's, since I've been able to tap into that, the results that I can help my clients experience are just profoundly, vastly more superior than when I was in the old world of coaching from a technique book or coaching from a recipe book. So anyway, since discovering the principles and since discovering the science of transformation, I discovered that there's actually a science behind what's actually going on when we're in a transformational conversation. So that's what I'm really, really excited to share with you today. So I've been from an engineer, stuck in the matrix, working in a job that I didn't like, to now running a coach training business and working with clients all over the world, helping them transform themselves, and feeling like I wake up every single day getting to do what I absolutely love, what I'm born to do. So that's what I'm excited to share with you, because everyone can do the same. I'm not special. I'm just a guy that kind of cracked the code and kind of figured out the science behind the system. And that's why I'm so excited to share it, because it's not rocket science. It's actually very, very simple. And the beautiful thing is the simplicity of it. It's not complex. Anyone that says that success is complex is making it much harder than it needs to be. So I'm very passionate about this topic, and I could talk on this for hours, but I'm going to hand it over to you, Kai, because I'm sure the guys want to hear a little bit more about your story.
Yeah, cool. Wonderful. I love every time I hear kind of what you've been through. Going from an engineer to what you're doing now is quite a jump. If you think about it, most people kind of stay on track for most of their life. So it really takes a transformation to change lanes, if you will, or to change tracks. And for me, I kind of got started in this field as a healer, as a holistic healer, studying with kind of something called Body Talk, which is a conglomerate of basically every modality on the planet. So I studied the majority of the modalities: Chinese medicine, philosophy and theory, and all sorts of different kinds of, myopathic release and energy work and all this stuff that kind of gave me a hands-on experience with people and watching them go through various levels of change. On a physical level, what happens to their emotions when you do this kind of technique? What happens to their physical body when you release this belief? So I had kind of an understanding from that work of just how connected and how integrated we are as human beings, how our beliefs affect our emotions, and how our emotions affect our physiology, and how our physiology affects our behaviors and patterns and so forth. I came to the end of the road in about 2016. I hit the wall. I had been working with a lot of clients. I had done over 5,000 sessions by the time I closed the door. So I would say I'm a practitioner. I like to get hands-on and learn that way. And what I came to realize is, wow, people are coming in and I'm really good at helping them kind of relieve themselves of what they're presenting with. But why 3, 4, 5 months down the road do they come back in with something similar, or I can feel that there's like a similar cause? So I was noticing that there were presentations of what they were coming in with, but for some reason I still wasn't, even though it was a holistic medicine approach, I still wasn't really addressing a deeper cause. And I was curious about that, because in this industry, a lot of people say, well, we're going to the root, not, we're not going to the presentation. But even then I felt there's something missing, even in these healing approaches. And I started to understand that kind of the way that a person lives their life, and a way that the person creates themselves, and the way that they live through that persona, that is what's responsible for what they come in with. It's the way that they actually show up. It's who they're being that determines their beliefs and their feelings and all of the other stuff. So I realized, wow, I'm not directly working with the being. I wonder if there's something that I could get into that would take me there with clients. So I started exploring transformational coaching and something called ontological coaching. And I just kept going down the rabbit hole. And I started to be able to have an impact on people, not just on the short term, but in the long term. People were seeing transformations in the way that they thought about life, and their finances would change, and their relationship would change, and their career would change. And then from there, their health actually started getting better. So I saw that this is such an integrated system, that the way you live is also determining your state of health. And you can't separate that. But I just started realizing there's a deeper place that we can work with people from. And I've been really, really diving deep into that rabbit hole for the last 5, 6 years of my own journey, and also working with clients and training coaches to really come to an understanding of, like what Chris said, there's a science behind transformation. And transformation can be in all forms. Transformation can be in, like I said, your relationship. You can have an unhealthy, toxic relationship. You can transform as a person and it becomes healthy. Or you can have a career that you're just dissatisfied with, frustrated with. It's just not taking you anywhere. It's draining from your life. You can transform who you are, find a deeper calling in your life, change your purpose, and find something that's in alignment with who you really are. You can have, let's say, financial issues and continually kind of going in the same pattern, but you can have a transformation and you can have a completely different financial future. So there's all sorts of transformations, even in health, but they really come at the level of being. They come at the level of changing who we are. And so that sort of dedicated, again, the majority of my time. Now, when I say majority, my personal interest in transformation and spirituality has become my profession. So I don't have a separation between my spiritual process and my profession, or my kind of vocation in the world. And that allows me to literally just be myself when I show up in my family, when I show up in my relationship, when I show up to work. I can just be myself. I'm not wearing different masks. And that's one thing that's really important, is we're going to talk a little bit more about ikigai and finding your kind of creating an integrated life. But what I think is most important is, if you're going to have a career, it should really be in the deepest alignment with your true essence and your passions and your purpose in this life, so that it's not something that takes any effort. It's something that is effortless. And that way it has the fuel to really grow to its full potential. So that's really important for us when we look at helping people transform and find their passion for life and live their purpose, and to create prosperity from those two things. we want them to do that in an effortless, aligned way that's authentic to who they really are. And that's a whole process in itself. But I think now is a good time to transition into a little bit of a picture we call genius model, which shows you what we actually do in terms of helping people. So we're going to share a simple drawing here with you to help illustrate, because we could talk probably hours about our work, but it's really simple if we show you what the essence of it is. So can you guys see the screen? Just give us a thumbs up if you can see our screen there. It's changed to 3 circles. Good, we got some thumbs ups. Okay, so at the center of everything that Chris and I do in our business together and in our life in general, we find that if a person can get into what we call resonance, so in the very center of everything, there is resonance. If you can get into resonance with who you really are, and in turn, you can get into resonance with the larger cosmos or life in whole, you are going to be able to live a life that's effortless and purely authentic. And you're going to be able to tap into your innate gifts and talents, really the inclinations that you have that drive you to be interested in certain things and allow you to show up in the world as your best self. So resonance is at the core. It's really just being deeply connected to your true essence, embodying your true essence so that your natural gifts and talents can emerge. Now, what that ultimately gives us is when we're in tune with in resonance with our true essence, it gives us a sense of passion for life. And what it also does is it helps us understand that our passions are not just passions, they're inclinations. Right? There are things that we're going to be amazing at. There are natural gifts that we have that we can develop, but our passions are going to be the fuel for our life. So if you have passion, it's like rocket fuel for anything that you do. And that needs to be established first. You have to have a deeply rooted connection to yourself to feel passionate just about being passionately alive. And the next thing that is really important is to find a purpose, to have somewhat of a application where you can make your contribution, you can give to the world, to find out what is the most important to you and to find the way that you could contribute to the maximum impact or maximum effect. So when you're living your purpose, you feel like your life is meaningful. You feel like your life has a sense of direction and you're going in the way that you want to be moving. You're growing, there's progression, there's evolution. Okay, so it actually pulls you into greater dimensions of who you are, having a purpose beyond your own self-fulfilling reasons. Okay, so living for something beyond yourself. Now, what we found is if people can access these two things in an authentic way, in resonance with who they are, it will automatically relate to having prosperity. The consequence will be prosperity. Rather than focusing on a career to make money, if you get in resonance with who you really are and you find your passion for life and you find your purpose for contributing to other people's lives, prosperity will be a consequence. It's not something you pursue. It's something that is just an outcome of you living your best life, right? So this is really important, to be able to just live your life and enjoy yourself and be financially rewarded and to create your livelihood from there. Because what's difficult for most people is when they have to live and work at a job and then use that income to try and perpetuate what they really love to do. So we want to integrate all of that into one. Chris, do you want to handle the next 3?
Yeah. So in order to live your passion or find your passion, live your purpose and create prosperity, there's essentially 3, you might call them universal ingredients that are required in order to do that. So this is the how. This is what, everyone can get a sense that, yeah, most people want to experience a life of passion, purpose, and prosperity. And then the question is, well, how do you do that? And the way that we've noticed is it's almost like a science. These seem to be very universal, that it doesn't matter what country you're from, whether you're a man or a woman, this is just a universal process that just works in reality. And the first element here is, first step is you need to transform yourself. And what we mean by transform yourself here is we need to actually be able to go through some kind of transformative process to let go of the illusions and the limitations that are going to prevent us from being of service. We need to educate ourselves. We need to understand how we experience life, how we create our reality. So we need to start to understand, if we want to be functional in the world, well, we first need to transform ourselves. We need to be our first client. I always say that as a coach and as a trainer, I am my first client. So step one is always going to be transform ourselves and be your own client. So number one is transform ourselves and let go of the illusions and limitations that are holding us back from being of service in the world. So that's step one. Step two then is we need to then learn. Somehow I lost my screen. Just bear with me a sec. Okay, I think we're back here. Yeah. So now what we need to do is we need to learn how to impact others. So impacting others is all about learning that there is a science and there is a skill set required in order to cause transformation or to initiate transformation in others. So once we've now created that transformation ourselves, we've got something to give away. So step one is transform ourselves. Step two is now we can give that away to other people. And in order to do that, there's certain skill sets, there's certain understandings of the science of transformation, and there is capability that we need to develop in order to do that. So that's the second part. And then the third part is we need to then create a business. Now, what I mean by creating a business is, in order for us to offer our services to the world, we need to operate essentially in the economy. So we need to understand things like how to create clients, how do we create offers, how do we charge for our services, how do we get paid what we're worth, how do we operate inside this economy such that we can get rewarded to create prosperity for our skill set. So we're not just here to give away our stuff for free, we're here to get rewarded for it and create a win-win situation for everyone that we're working with. So this is an important part here around, unless we can understand the commerce side of business, we are going to be limited in how far our impact can extend into the world. So we need to understand that business plays a critical role here. So these are the three ingredients: transform yourself, create impact, and then transform others, and then create a business. So these are the three elements that these are like the universal ingredients that every coach or consultant or therapist needs to understand. If you're missing any one of these ingredients, something's not going to work. It's like the combination lock. You might not have the numbers in the right combination and the whole thing just doesn't unlock and it doesn't flow. So these are the three universal forces or ingredients, if you like, that just make the whole thing work. So I just want to check in so far based on this picture. What is coming up for you? What has been insightful? What are you learning so far in this presentation? I'd just love to check in what's been useful, what's been helpful. Feel free to type in the chat what you're learning and what's resonating. Kyle, I'll hand it back over to you.
Yeah, cool. Well, we'll wait for some comments to come through. Why don't we go through just the last little blocks here to show you that there are actually a couple more components that go into this system that we've developed. And then we're going to shift over and have a couple of the participants who've gone through this training to share their experience with you, just so you know what it's like from their perspective. So Robert said, I think the most effective thing for me to focus on currently is the business side. Yeah, really, there are three transformations that we look at. And sometimes, even though we may be further along in our journey, like you may be already 5-6 years into your business, there may be things about one of the three that just aren't working properly. So the first one is transform yourself. Sometimes we need to really change our perspective on life to make the shift to change our work with clients and to have a different kind of business. Our model of business might change if we transform the way we think about life. And also in terms of impacting others, sometimes we hit the wall. I mean, this is something I learned through healing is I took many, many different trainings and modalities. And I was always stretching my boundaries and understanding there's a limit to my skill set right now. There's a limit to my understanding. And when I got another level of understanding and my skill improved, I could get different results with clients, better results, faster results. So sometimes the limit is your ability to impact others, your professional transformation. And then the last one is your business transformation, right? Sometimes we hit the wall because we actually haven't set up systems that allow us to automate the process of client acquisition so that it becomes easier and we can scale our business. So there's also limits sometimes on our business understanding. So that's great. So you'll probably be in one of the three transformations. Maybe you're early to this journey and you still need to do a transformation on yourself, or maybe you're in the transformation phase and you want to learn the skill set, or maybe you've done both and you're looking to create a business and you want help getting clients. Cool. And Heidi just said, I love the simplicity and the profound results. Yeah, absolutely. Colton, love it. Glad I've already been working on the transforming myself for the past few years. Know it's time to create the model of how to impact others with what I've learned and absolutely need to turn it into a business. Yeah. Yeah. Once you get past that point where you're like, okay, I really have done some work for myself. I want to give it away. Now it's time to learn how to do that in the most effective way possible. And then to be able to build your business as well. And again, the business is about sustaining, right? Because you can have a passion, but we still also live in an economic world, and we need to sort of balance out what we do passionately in our life with paying bills. And so if you can merge the two and do what you're passionate about, which then creates your livelihood, then you can just focus on what you're passionate about, and the rest takes care of itself. And Purnima, it's opening up my own experience to allow me to see how everything has changed since we started the course in October last year. Yeah, beautiful. Wonderful. Well, we're going to hear from a couple of you guys about what that change was like shortly. So we're just going to go through these last 9 sections here just really quickly. We don't have time to go in depth into them today, but we're just going to show you that there are actually components to each of these 3 universal areas that we need to focus on while becoming transformational coaches. So in the Transform Yourself section, we have the principles paradigm, the 3 principles paradigm. It's a revolutionary understanding of how we work as human beings psychospiritually. So in the late 1800s, the father of modern psychology, I think his name is William, do you know what his name is, Chris? William James?
William James.
Yeah, William James, he wrote a book called Principles of Psychology. Funny enough, he later came to say there weren't actually principles in this book of psychology, but the day that we do discover principles in psychology will be as monumental as the day that man discovered fire. And what that means is until a area of exploration has principles, like physics has principles that Newton discovered, it's not a scientific approach. It can only be speculative. And we're doing our best with our concepts and theories about how things work. But once principles are discovered, we can see that there are things that are consistent and predictable, and we can work with those principles to create profound results. And it's just been so revolutionary to my business and also my understanding of life to discover and work with these principles, even after exploring something like NLP, which is very cutting edge psychology. It's just been so different working from a principles-based understanding. So the first in the Transform Yourself is opening up your understanding to understand the 3 principles of psychology. And the next one is grounding. Now, grounding is embodying this understanding. And the deeper you embody the understanding of how we really work psychologically, the more mentally healthy we become naturally, effortlessly. Now, a lot of systems out there are using a lot of techniques. There's no problem with that. Mindfulness and various types of technique-based modalities to help balance out our emotions and our mind. But what I found is there's a lot to do. And sometimes it can actually add more, especially if people are busy, it can add more to the plate than we may want to take on. So what this process is it's not an additive process, it's a subtractive process. when we subtract our misunderstandings about how we work and how life works, we start to function more in tune with nature, more in tune, more in resonance with life. So our grounding is how close are we kind of in our understanding of life and our concept of life with how life really works, especially our psychological experience. And the last part here that we really use to help people transform themselves are distinctions. Distinctions are contrasts between two different perspectives of a concept. So there are going to be concepts that you explore from an outside in understanding, meaning looking at life as if something outside of you is causing your experience, versus an inside out distinction or understanding, looking at life as if life is actually being created from within. Now, I can tell you, this inside out understanding of life is what the real transformation is. And these distinctions that we've discovered and that we share, they really help clarify how to look at life, different perspectives you can take on life that transform the way that you see life and the way that therefore you experience life and the way that you show up to life. So this is how these transformational distinctions come in play. Now, if we move down into the impact section, what we have kind of a little saying, we want to help you create coaching wizardry. We want to give you the ability to create not only magical results, but miraculous results where people literally transform in front of your eyes and they are different people. Now, this happens all the time in my business, and I'm sure all the time in Chris's, and all the time also it's starting to happen in the people who have gone through the training. They're starting to notice people are having really profound and deep transformations. Transformations where parts of their entire identity just fall away and they show up different to life. So we want to give you the skills and the understanding to be able to create coaching wizardry where you could sit with someone for an hour and create a profound transformative effect in their life. And again, that's so you can maximize your impact in the time that you spend. Now, just to give you an understanding, probably now in one session, I could do what used to take me 5-6 years ago in maybe 50 sessions. Like my skill set has refined so much as my understanding and as my skill set has improved. It's refined so much that I just see what needs to change for people to change on all levels in an integrated way. So the other thing that we want to give to people who go through this training is a way to scale their impact. And so we teach leveraged coaching. We teach how do you work with groups and create the same kind of transformative results as you would with an individual. Because at some point, your time is limited. You're only going to be able to have a certain amount of hours in the day. And if you can work one to many, and if you can get the same kind of results, and if you can develop a skill set with working with a group, you can maximize your impact in the world. So you can scale your impact by leveraging your coaching. And the last one here is transformational models. Now, this is a model. And what we found is that there are certain ways that you can communicate with people. And some people communicate in words and some people communicate in touch, but visual language, transformative visual language models, ways to represent the concepts or the ideas, they have seemingly been the fastest way that people understand what we're really talking about. And there are a number of people who went through a recent training who said, look, the transformational models were profound. Like I've studied this stuff for years and just seeing that one picture clarified it. So we want to learn how to be able to communicate the deeper essence of what we're trying to say conceptually through visual models. And you're going to learn how to create your own. So it's a brand new way of communicating with people that just makes it so that you can hit the mark. So again, that's how we improve impact, is looking at those three things. Now, in creating a business, the purpose of that is, again, to be able to scale your impact. Okay, so to have a business means to have a system that you can deliver the impact or the service that you are capable of giving. So one of the things that is most important in this is creating community. So we want to be able to create community because, look, if you're a coach and you don't have anyone to coach, that's not going to feel very meaningful. or very purposeful. Having a wonderful skill set, but not being able to apply it is not going to give you that sense of meaning and purpose that we're after. So we want to know how to create community. We want to know how to take that community, serve them, and then create clients from that community. So there's a client acquisition system. Like what is your way of creating clients that is predictable, consistent? And also in terms of clients, we want to look at how do we create long-term, high impact clients. So how do we create high value projects for people? 5, 10, 15, 20, 30, $50,000 per year sometimes. That much value. How do we create that much value for a person? And how can we illustrate that value to them so that they are willing to enter into an agreement and we can work on that project together? So a lot of the other modalities that I used to work in, healing is one of them, but say counseling or therapy, sometimes these modalities have short-term session packages. So you work with someone by the session or you work with someone by a block of sessions, but the long-term project in my business wasn't there. So I would constantly have to have re-enrollment conversations. Basically, if you're selling session by session, every session at the end of the session is kind of like, you want to buy another session? So when I learned how to create longer term programs, I found I don't actually have to sell as much. Like I can spend more time focusing on the client and serving them and less time thinking about, oh, is this person going to continue? Da, da, da. So just change the dynamic altogether to switch to a package model. The other thing that we want to help people create is a team. At some point, you're going to need to scale. So knowing how to build out a team with a VA and with systems, that's going to give you the capacity to be more impactful. And guess what? Focus on the stuff that you love to do. I mean, business is something that I learned to do. It wasn't my preferred passion in the sense that I love helping people, but do I love spending time thinking about the kind of marketing and systems that I want to do? Not really. But I saw it as a skill set that would allow me to increase my impact. So it was something that I decided I was going to get good at, and I did. And so we go through marketing in a very simple way. We've actually had some people who had a marketing background, 10 years of marketing, come through this training recently. And they said, the way that you do the marketing kind of summarized everything that we learned in 10 years into a simple system. And it just made it so easy. It was genius the way you did that. So we have a really refined system for helping people get clients. Now that's the big picture. But what we want to do is we want to check in with a couple of the people who have gone through the program so that you can get an understanding of what their experience was like from them firsthand. So out of either Robert, Dave, Purnima, or Heidi, which one or two of you would like to go now? We're going to leave some space at the end as well for the other two of you to share. So Robert, I saw you put your hand up. So why don't you jump on here? And Chris, let's just close down this screen here and get Robert on the view. All right, Robert, why don't you unmute yourself and just tell us kind of what your experience of going through the 6-month coach training project evolution that you just went through. What was that like for you?
Yeah. Hey everyone. So I'm Robert. I'm from Toronto, Canada. I just turned 23 like 2 weeks ago, and yeah, like my journey was I was working as a banker, and I went to school for 1 year taking psychology, and I did some traveling. I ended up meeting Kai in India, and then he told me about this whole coaching thing, and then I was trying to do it for a couple of years, but I was kind of like really nervous. I didn't really want to put myself out there and create any clients because I was kind of afraid of receiving no's for an answer. And then I just had a big insight one day, and I ended up creating my first clients for $8.33 Canadian, which was a big day for me. I was very proud. I was making about $18.33 at my bank job. And my idea was that I had to move up a couple positions and become like a financial advisor and then craft out my coaching business. But I got this really big insight one day to trust the unknown and quit my job. The day that I quit my job, the day after that, I I started dating my girlfriend, who I've been dating for 10 months now, which I've been like literally crying tears of joy and love almost every single day, because it's just, I was looking for a girlfriend so frantically over the past like 3-4 years, and it just came. And then I signed 2 clients for $50 an hour that same day or the day after, something like ridiculously close. And then within the span of 2-3 months, I ended up signing a client for 250 US per hour. So I went from making $18 at the bank to making 250 US per hour. And then I was actually able to craft out some group programs as well. Like I crafted one group program called Fearlessness, which I ended up having coach named Steve Chandler, who's like a pretty famous coach. He's like an author and this sort of thing. He ended up coming as a guest to my program. Created a second program called Transformation. I'm launching my third program, which is Fearlessness 2.0, and I have another program in the archive, Twin Flame. And now I'm signing clients for like $2,000, like in that range, which like, I mean, depending where you are in your life, it might not be a big deal, but for me, like for a 23-year-old, this is like pretty crazy. So yeah, it's been really helpful to have the support of the group and even just like kind of the peer coaching system as well, like to have other coaches that you can practice with. And it's nice to grow as a tribe. So yeah, it's been a cool experience for me. And I have my intention to come through the program again. So yeah, thank you.
Awesome. Thanks, Robert. Thanks for sharing your experience and coming through. And yeah, you've created quite a bit in the short period of time, just in those first couple of months, and excited to see what you're also going to create in the coming years. Just getting started. Cool. Well, either Heidi, Dave, or Purnima would Dave. Cool. And then we'll get the girls, I guess, to go second. We'll didn't plan that. We'll
That's nice of the ladies to let the blokes go first for a change. Guys, I'm Dave. I've been working with Chris on and off in some form or another for probably a bit over 2 years. I've known Chris for, I think it's 4 or 5 years now. I've lost track. It feels like forever. And through Chris, I met Kai, and then I've been taken through the various programs. I started working with Chris in a program that he ran called Project Limitless that I've done. I think 4 times I've gone through that. I basically work with Chris in a full-time capacity. It's helped me build my own coaching practice. My background's financial services. I spent 20 odd years in financial planning, finance broking, banking, lending, the whole lot. And I've brought all that knowledge with me to then go down the rabbit hole and specialize in business coaching. I now run a program where I basically guarantee clients that, you know, across virtually any business, that we can sit together for 45 to 60 minutes and I'll find $50,000 to $100,000 in your business that you're currently leaving on the table. That's the process that I work with. Clients that then want help to implement that into their business. That for me is a range of between $25,000 to $30,000 per year to work with me. And I also have a model where it's a slightly lesser amount for the fixed costs, but I take a percentage of revenue where it's a type of business we could, that, you know, and there's skin in the game in that model where it's a longer term interest, and that's where I'll be working with them for a 2 to 5 year plan. So it's well worth my time, effort, and energy invested into that for their long term success. I don't know what else to say, guys. What I've learned, I guess, is I'm going to go with emotional, the emotional growth that I've experienced. I was very much a numbers, yes, no, straight up and down. 1 plus 2 was always going to equal 3. I didn't care if number 1 or 2 had feelings, and I didn't really care what color 3 was. And I'm starting to realize and accept these days that those numbers might have feelings and colors, and it's just up to me to interpret that the way that I need. And I can move away from this hard, fast facts and figures and get into the emotional drivers and content that really help accelerate your progress, I guess is the best way to put it. Cool. Anything else you'd like to know, Kai?
Yeah, just in terms of like what has kind of happened in the time frame that you've been through Project Revolution personally and in your business.
Yeah.
Any specific?
Oh wow. Well, it's moved from a transactional based model where I was literally just working with clients on an hour to hour basis, and I very much struggled to get myself out of that cost per hour process. So now I've moved and transitioned into, I look at the value of the proposition of what I'm going to generate for someone. So I look at it in the context that if I can show someone how to put $100,000, $150,000, $250,000 onto their bottom line, a fee of 5 to 10% of that transactional value is not much to ask when they get 90% of the upside. So it's really helped me in the context to see my value and expand that out in the eyes of the client rather than bring that dollar per hour mentality.
Awesome. And I know that you signed some pretty big clients recently. What's that been like?
Yeah, two. So there've been 26,000 for the year was one of them, and 30,000 is literally inking the deal this week for a new client. Look, it's game changers from that process, and to play the long game, to be patient, to know what I want to do, be really clear on the type of client and the type of businesses that I want to work with, and being prepared to say no to the wrong fit. So if I'm not a match with that client, it's actually perfectly okay not to be a match. There'll be someone out there that can help them, but it's not the model that I want to work with. So I end up taking myself off track and away from what's true to me. So that's another lesson that's come out of that process of really understanding who do you want to work with, why do you want to work with that particular genre, business model, avatar, whatever the case may be, and being crystal clear on that so that you're not distracted.
Yeah, wonderful. Well, thanks so much, Dave, for sharing. And a lot of the business component is really focused on exactly what Dave mentioned, which is learning how to create more value by thinking bigger for your clients, thinking in terms of a bigger project and helping them find that for their life. And in terms of being able to find clients that you really resonate with, because if you're going to be working with someone for longer periods of time, you want to be in resonance with them. You want it to be a collaborative relationship where both of your lives get enhanced in the process. And so that's why, I get to show up and do what I love and hang out with people that I really enjoy spending time with, helping them create things that are meaningful to them. It's just made my life much better. Like, it enhances my day to sit down and coach someone. Also, the type of experience you have when you see people go through their transformation and you have your own in the process, that's really been something that's profound. So I'm sure we'll hear a little bit more from Heidi and Prima later, but there have been numerous people who have gone through that process where they've been able to find exactly who they want to work with and been very clear on that, and also be able to create the type of value that is, $20,000, $30,000 of value to that person. We're not talking the price ticket tag. We're talking value of service to the person who is paying that ticket. That's what we're looking to create, is how can you find that much value for someone that would be worth them paying them. So it's understanding that's really what high ticket sales is about. It's not about how can I just raise my fees and market it properly. It's how can I really uncover that kind of value in someone's life. So it's another kind of skill set. Well, let's move on into the details of the program, and then we're going to share with you a little bit about kind of what it is that the program is about. So let's go into kind of the next phase here, Chris. I don't know if you have a document for that, or if we're going to go through anything else.
Yeah, Kai, I think we can bring up the 6 phases that I think is the fundamental process, the recipe, if you like, for creating coaching success. So I'm going to share with you my screen, and you can see here that we've got quite a logical, very scientific, but also very organic process that we actually take our students through. And let me know if you guys can see my screen. Hopefully you can see that there. Yeah. So Project Revolution, it's a 6-month journey where we go through all the systems that are required for you to build out a successful transformational coaching business. And when we say coaching business, you could be a coach, a consultant, as Dave was just talking from the perspective of a business coach or consultant. It could be a therapist, Heidi, a psychosomatic therapist, and as well. So we've got coaches, consultants, therapists. You might be an educator. You could be a teacher. You could be a public speaker. This is the same universal system that just works for anyone that's in the transformation industry. So It's a 6-month training that we've designed. And the great thing about this training is that it has 6 fundamental universal steps. And Kai, I think it's worth pointing out that when we actually look at each of these steps here, I'm going to actually kind of draw them out how this actually works. So step 1, as we sort of touched on before, is actually we've got to transform ourselves. So this is the first part here, is transform yourself and access your true self. Then once we've been through that, you've then got to then understand, well, what was that process that we went through? Like, you've got to understand the science of that transformative process. Once you understand that, we can then move on to developing a professional skill set where this is all about creating impact in your clients. Then the next step that we arrive at is creating your own coaching methodology. So this is now creating your unique signature system for how do you want to work with clients? What's the best way for you to work in resonance with your true self and impact clients that works for you? Not someone else's system, not some cookie cutter approach, but what's your own organic system for working with clients?
Hey, Chris, I just want to point out that when I understood how to create my own methodology, it was a game changer, because before I was working under other people's methods, and I was trying to always remember kind of what's this and what's that technique, and I didn't have any unique branding either. I was just, oh, what do you do? Oh, I do body talk. Oh, I do NLP. It wasn't that I could say to someone, look, from my experience of understanding how human beings transform and how life works, this is what I have come out with. This is my own work, my own body of work. So I started creating my own intellectual property when I started creating my own methodology. And intellectual property can be leveraged. Information can be leveraged way more than labor, way more than just, so it changes the game. It takes you from kind of like a laborer working under someone else's system to being free and creating your own intellectual property and being able to teach that to people and to even train people and to give those impactful and transformational understandings and ideas away. So you become a thought leader in the process of developing your own methodology, and that distinguishes you as an expert, that positions you as an authority in your own methodology, and it just changes the game in terms of positioning you in a marketing sense. So it has a huge impact, but also it improves your ability to help clients. I just wanted to point out that that is really profound. That step should not just be glossed over, in the sense that that's a game changer. Even if you've been in an industry for 5, 10, 15 years as in a profession, once you get this down, once you learn the process of developing your methodology, it changes the game and how people see you and how you show up in your profession.
Yeah, well said, Kai. I think that ties in nicely with the next step there, which is design perfect offers. You know, this is all about, you might have really dialed in your skill set, you might be an expert, but unless you can communicate that in a way that resonates with your market, which is another way for saying once you position your offer, then, you know, a lot of the hard work that you've done, if you haven't got that in place, a lot of it can fall on deaf ears. A lot of the hard work, you can miss out on the return on investment when you haven't got the offer right. So the offer is the presentation of what, and then the final step here that we help you with is building your own client acquisition system. So this is incredibly important. This is understanding how client enrollment works. This is understanding how marketing and sales are really probably the most important part of growing a coaching business, because if you don't understand that, you don't have clients. You know, you can be a great practitioner, but unless you understand client enrollment, understanding marketing, understand attraction, understanding sales, the whole lot kind of collapses and fails. So you need all of these 6 elements. And when each of these 6 elements is working correctly, you've got a finely tuned engine, and the whole system just works in perfect unison. So the way that it all works is each of these 6 phases is actually a cycle. So you actually move around each of these 6 phases, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, and it actually works in a cycle. So we actually take you round this system over the space of 6 months to refine all of these 6 elements so that you've got a finely tuned coaching business. So that's how the system actually works. So Kai, we might move on to the actual program itself. So Kai, do you want to mention a little bit about what are we actually doing inside this program? It's 6 months of stuff. It's just some epic stuff here. Do you want to go into a little bit about what are we actually doing in those 6 months together?
Yeah, so we discovered kind of that there are certain pillars when people are learning a skill set or developing themselves in a professional way. There are certain pillars that need to be in place that give them all the different angles they would need to learn at the maximum rate, at the maximum speed. So we have kind of a 6-month intensive training where we do weekly trainings. And that's kind of a combination of pre-recorded videos, modules, and live calls, right? So we're going to jump on and actually present to you various elements throughout the whole system of the Genius model that we went through. We're going to go in depth into various aspects of the system that are going to take you through the 6 steps: the transformation, the understanding, the skill set, the methodology, creating your offer, and then actually acquiring clients. We have group coaching calls where Chris and I coach the people in the program. So you'll get an opportunity each week if you want to show up and be coached on something either personal or professional or business wise. We will coach or consult you, because what we actually do is we do a blend of coaching and consulting in our business. So we teach you guys how to be coaches in terms of the skill set of creating insight and the conditions, but we teach you how to consult from your expertise. So we don't just say, okay, leave everything on the table. We say, look, everything that you're an expert at, everything you've spent your life dedicated to, we can find a way to make that useful to the people that you would serve. So we work with a coaching consulting model, and we found that the value people can provide in that model is just so much greater than just a purely coaching model. And we do live coaching demonstrations on the coaching call. So you'll get to watch us firsthand, like a fly on the wall, coach people the way that we coach people in our private one-to-one programs. And that is something that we don't show to anyone except for people in this program. So that will give you the opportunity to watch us coach, and we break down what's happening. We go into kind of a breakdown mode of like, why did we go in that direction? Why did we ask this question? What did we see that maybe led us to taking them in that direction? And then we check in with the client. What is the result that you got? So you're going to be able to see it all break down live, people going through transformative experiences, and you're going to get to go through that experience yourself when you're on the hot seat. So again, we have the pre-recorded training modules. So basically we have kind of theory and practice, which is the live calls. We have an experiential element of being coached yourself. Okay, so it's not just all theory. You're going to get coached, and you're going to have your own transformation as a result. You have to actually have that personal experience of being coached to make a great coach. Once you have your own transformative experience being coached, then it's really easy to be able to lead others in that experience. So we wanted to make it experiential. And we also have guest presenters, people who have been in the field, who are our mentors, for 20, 30, 40 years. We have them come in as well and give master classes. So you get multiple perspectives of this transformative industry and coaching in general that will expand your mind. Sometimes hearing it from Chris and I works, and sometimes hearing it from someone else who has a lot of experience works as well. So we want to give you as many angles to really understand what we're trying to share here, what we're trying to impart to you. Then we have a peer coaching program. So each week you'll be paired up with a peer coach to practice. So you're going to have hands-on practice on coaching and being coached. You'll also get more experience being coached. The more you get coached and the more you give coaching, the better and the faster you'll become a skilled practitioner. We have online community, which we post in the group, and we share things in there. And there's sometimes exercises that we do in the calls or for the week that we check in the group, and we give feedback on that. So that's a place to kind of stay connected 24/7. That's a place to build some community and build some lifelong friendships. And a number of people have really created some strong connections to other people in the group here. So it's also a place where you can build colleagues and comrades, and you can have a sense of, wow, people are on the same journey that I'm on. And the last thing is we offer a certification. So we've just kind of put together certain requirements for certification. We're going to be offering a certification under the brand of Resonance Coaching Academy. So you will be a certified transformative resonance coach by the time you're complete, if you complete all of the different exercises and certain peer coaching requirements. So that's how we're going to support you in the journey. And what do we have next, Chris?
We have the pricing. So we've got a special offer on at the moment. We've got our super early bird offer on at the moment, where the regular price of the program is close to €10,000. And for those that are wanting to jump in early before the 1st of May, or for those that want to book in, at least have a chat to us to explore this, because the only way that people can really join this program is if you chat to us and we feel like we're both a good fit for joining the program. So if you feel like you resonate with this in some level and you want to have a conversation with us about joining the program, if you guys book in for an appointment, if you guys jump in today and book an appointment, at least to chat with us, then you'll be eligible for the upfront saving of €5,997. So that's a pretty massive saving for jumping in early. So as I said, if it resonates on some level, just book in to have a call with us. So book in with either Kai or myself. I'll give you guys the link here to book in to have a conversation. It's really just finding out, are we a fit? Finding out more about where are you on your journey? What are you looking for? And then we'll be able to make an assessment whether or not we'd recommend that the program's right or not. And we're very open and transparent about making sure we find people that are in resonance with what we're doing. So that's a really organic conversation just to make sure that we're in synchronization and that we've got the right people in the program. So we've been very blessed to have the people that resonate with us in the program, and we've got people that resonate with us. Everything just works. So Kai, was there anything else you wanted to add about that?
Yeah, it's just an exploration. We want to see, again, if this is something that's going to be in service to you, and also if you're going to be a good fit for the kind of community that we're creating. And, once we know we're in resonance, then it's a matter of just seeing, what it takes to basically move forward. So basically that call is going to be an exploration to see where you're at, what you want to create in your life. And if this training is a good fit, we'll let you know. So you can book in for a call with, again, either one of us. We're both happy to jump on with whoever wants to chat further. And other than that, I think at this point, I would love to maybe check back into some of the final testimonials here, or the people who want to share their experience. But again, you can see all the pricing here. The price goes up $1,000 each month. So if you want to get in, or at least you want to explore, if you're curious, book a call before the end of May. And even if our conversation happens before the end of April, before the 1st of May, even if our conversation happens into May, let's say we can't get you in the calendar until May 5th. If you booked in now, before the 1st of May, we'll honor the April pricing, okay? After May 1st, it will be €6,997. So, and we also have payment plans for those of you who aren't able to pay up front in full, and we're very understanding on that situation. So, if payment is something that you also need to discuss, if you're thinking of joining, then that's something that we can work with you on to make sure that, it's accessible. We definitely don't want to limit this to the people who can't, afford the pay in full. So we want to find ways that we can work with you to make it accessible. And for the most part, by the 6-month mark, people are starting to get into conversations where they're either having conversations about signing up clients, or they are signing up clients. So we like to create kind of a 6-month time frame where we're going to try and help you become to get paying clients. That is our goal, is to help you actually get to the point where you have these skill sets, and enrollment is one of them. So that's it for this. Again, book in the call if you want to explore this further and have a chat with either Chris or myself. And why don't we turn it over to either Pointy or Heidi, who would like to go and just kind of share about what your experience is like. Anyone want to go first? Heidi. Okay.
I'll just add to that, Kai. I've just dropped the link in the comments, guys. So if you want to book in a call, just click the link there. You'll fill in a survey just to make sure that, make sure we've got all your information, and then you'll have an opportunity to then click a time to book into the calendar to speak with me. So yeah, if you resonate with this conversation and want to have a conversation, just click the link and we can book in a time to chat. So just click that link there and then you can fill in the form. So that's it.
Awesome.
Ponima or Heidi.
Yeah, we got Heidi ready to go, and then we'll have Purnima. And
Right.
Hello, good morning to you all. My name is Heidi Solomon and I live in Melbourne, Australia. I've been coaching for about 4 years now, close to, going to 4 years. And I love sick people. So I work with a lot of physical ailments. So I treat physical diseases and also mental, like schizophrenia, bipolars, and that. This is the area I love because I come from a medical background. I am a biomedical engineer. I did psychosomatic therapy and categorical medicine. So this is where I find my happiness and my bliss, to see very sick people come to the other side and be totally whole and normal. We are all normal anyway, even the sick people. So I love seeing that happen. I've been working with Chris for a while, and I did his apprenticeship, I think in 2019. And still working with Chris and Kai, and I'm so fortunate. I'm really fortunate to have this beautiful vortex created because I come here every week and I get to have the experience of coaching by transmission, when there is no recipe book, when there is no techniques, when there is no close your eyes, open your eyes, put your hand here or put your heart there or whatever it is, none of that. It's all going deep down to somewhere where we all resonate, even people with mental illnesses, even people with physical diseases, even with people with a life sentence, like an expiry date. So this is what I get to see happen all the time. So I have not missed a class, and I would never miss a class with these beautiful guys. And I'm just going to mention very quickly my highlights about Project Revolution, because this was my major takeaway points. The group coaching is amazing. Having to see someone else getting coached while you get coached at the same time, that was phenomenal. And to get coached myself, like to experience this and that together in the same session and at different times, when you see the transformation from a different point of view. It's like watching a movie happen right in front of your eyes, where you get to experience, to see the feeling of the person getting transformation. So that put my whole perspective in a different way altogether. And it's like being the third person, having a look at two people, and you're seeing the transformation while it's happening to them. It's happening to me. That was amazing. So I love that. Absolutely love that. The other thing was the signature system. I get to extract my own genius just from a conversation. I get to extract like the step-by-step signature system of what I use in my business to be able to coach someone else and to see someone else do that in their business as well. So I remember an amazing session where Dave got to talk about his business, and then I think Kai was extracting his signature system from what he was mentioning, and that was amazing. That was mind-blowing. And to see that happen, and to see like the transformation, this is just a transformation on its own, because he got to see how he transforms people and their businesses right there and then. And the same happened with me and with everyone else that put their hand up to be able to share that. So that was amazing. Guest speakers, I love listening from other people's perspective and getting them to share what the principles mean to them and how they work with the principles. And I'm also an engineer, so my brain is constructed in a way where I like to collect data, and I love it when Chris says this is scientific. As soon as he says this is scientific, I go, okay, well, it is. All right, there we go. Okay, so this is scientific, guys, and I can verify that, because I can tell you that transmission and transformation happens at a specific place in the brain that is not the intellectual brain. And that is, you know, beautiful, because I get to witness that all the time. And I get also to see that, you know, from other people, you know, saying their own experience as well. They've been in the area for many, 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 many years. So that was also amazing. And I loved every minute of this project. And I'm very fortunate to have done this with you guys. So thank you so much. And I would totally recommend it if you are in resonance, totally recommend it, because this is truly life-changing. Thank you.
Excited. Really appreciate that. It's been such a pleasure to have you in the call and showing up the way you do. Really appreciate you. Yeah. Well, we're going to do two more here, two more shares with Purnima, and then Tanvir just jumped on here, but he also would be up for sharing, and then we'll close off today's call. Unless you guys have questions, we'll take time for questions at the very end.
Hi everyone, I'm Purnima, live in Bali. Heidi, thank you so much. Everything that you just said just resonated. It's like, I just think everything that she just said, and I'll just add a few more. I joined the course because I'd been lucky enough to be working with Kai, and I'd been through my own kind of personal transformation. I think I'd started that journey with him last year, and I just wasn't ready to give up or stop with the 3 principles and all of everything that comes along with it. So I joined this coaching course, never thinking that I would be a coach, or just kind of really motivated to see where it would lead. And at the time I have a business here in Bali that I'd shut down. And at the beginning of the course, I kind of found a passion and a drive to get that business going again, which kind of just happened. I feel like, you know, it's obviously not by chance, but it's just grown in a beautiful way. And yeah, that's one of the things that I've got from this course. And just also now I'm moving into coaching, and I see myself as a coach, and I'm really keen to get started and start sharing my passion and everything that I've gained along this journey. And I'm going to be signing up again because I just love being part of this project and this tribe, and just showing up every week. Every time we tap into any kind of peer coaching or the classes or the laser coaching, I just feel it just adds so much to my life. And yeah, I've really enjoyed it. So thank you.
Beautiful. Thank you for sharing, Purnima. It's great to have you on this journey, part of the community. And our final one tonight or today, I guess, tonight for some of you, Tanvir, if you don't mind sharing, and then we'll do some questions and answers, guys.
Hey, so my name is Tanvir, and I got diagnosed with bipolar at 19, and I went through this process of trying to figure out what's going on, trying like various things, going to camps, switching diets, going to spiritual gurus, and doing all sorts of different things, traveling all over the world, trying to figure out how to solve this problem that I had of bipolar. And I was fortunate to hear about Project Revolution, and I really came in with not too much of an understanding or even belief of sorry, not to not to fix my issue, but to learn how to coach. And through me wanting to become a coach, I just started becoming a different person in the process of going through these calls with through peer coaching, through learning off s- um I just I sorry, can I start again? I'm really, I'm nervous, and I don't I'm sorry.
Yeah, no problem. It sounds fine. Just share from your heart, wherever you feel.
tapping into the insights, getting beyond my thinking mind, and it was an experience that just it started happening. It was like the second month. I remember Kai was doing he was coaching somebody else, and in that process, something like a light bulb just went off in my head, and it just kind of takes the way I was experiencing what was happening in front of my eyes was it was like I was in a different world, and I didn't know what to make of it at first, and it was just there were so many questions going on as to what was going on, and I thought I was just cooking up a story in my head of like a feeling that I had. I thought I made it up, and then it happened again the next week, and then they would have these speakers come on, and every guest speaker that came, there was that feeling kept on coming over and over and over again, and I was like, that it confirmed that there was something going on in my experience, and I was so excited to come to the calls every week, and just for the feeling. And initially I wanted to become a coach, and I still do. That's my dream, but I was just kind of addicted to what was happening within me just by showing up to the calls. Like I was just coming and just practicing to be present and see what comes out of that. And this program has been, I can't put value on what these brothers have given me, Chris and Kai, and this whole program has transformed my life. And even though I'm still nervous right now, who I was before is completely different. So this is everything. And yeah, I'm just really grateful for finding this, and just I'm ready to continue diving deep into what else is there in store. And yeah, that's it. Thank you guys.
Thanks, Tanvir. Now, also, you mentioned you had bipolar. What ended up kind of happening? How did that play out? And where are you
I'm
at
off
now?
medication. I'm off medications now. I was on medications for 6 years. 6 years of living with this ailment, going off medications, coming back on over like multiple times I did it, and now it's not there. It's it's so liberating to realize that I had to become a different person to give that up. And it was like I was trying to give it up over and over again, but I was still in my internal experience was still the same. I wasn't a different person, and going through this program has made me a different person. So yeah, that's been the biggest takeaway for me.
Oh, beautiful.
I'm cured of bipolar.
Amazing, amazing. Well, thank you so much. You weren't even looking for it. I don't think anyone was expecting to have that, but that's just kind of the beauty of transformation is sometimes things just fall away that aren't in alignment with who we really are. Okay, so guys, thank you so much for sharing. We're going to open up the floor here for anyone who has any questions about anything that we mentioned today or anything we didn't mention today. So anyone have questions, just put up your hand if you do, and we'll get you potentially to jump on, or you can ask them in the chat too.
Yeah, if you have a question, feel free to just click the under the reactions button there. Oh no, it's under the there's a button down the bottom there. I think it's under reactions to put your hand up. Yeah, raise hand. So if anyone's got a question, we're happy to unmute you as well, or alternatively type in a question in the chat box as well. Or any extra insights, anything that was interesting or helpful, anything that was anything you found valuable today, feel free to share that as well. And beautiful share, Tanvir. Thank you so much for your courage to share your journey. It's so inspiring what you've been through. So yeah, congratulations. Yeah, thank you as well, Purnima. Thank you to everyone that shared today. It's great to be able to share a little bit about, it's obviously very difficult for someone outside the program to conceptualize, what it's going to be like. So we appreciate you guys doing your part in sharing our message with the world. So thank you. Yeah, thank you, Clara. Thank you for being here. Yeah, nice one, Clara. We'll just click the link, Clara, and you'll have an opportunity to book in, and we can have a chat. We'd love to explore what your situation is and see if we might be a fit. So thank you for being here. Yeah.
And Philip, I think I have you on either Facebook or WhatsApp, so we can just connect that way if you want to connect and ask some questions. Yeah, cool. And great to have you here, Clara. Really nice to have you sitting in on the call, and hope you got some interesting ideas of it. And we look forward to chatting with you further as well. Robert, nice to have you here, buddy. Haven't seen you in a while. Good to see you. And yeah, so that's it for today, guys. Thank you guys for being here, and for everyone who shared. Thank you guys. We really appreciate having you go through this process with us and be a part of this community, and to witness your transformation, and to see you guys having that impact on others is really, really a proud moment for both Chris and I. And we look forward to chatting with you, Clara, and Philip, and anyone else who wants to explore what this path is like a little further. So we'll see you guys in a private conversation, and thank you for coming today.
Yeah, thanks, guys. It's been a pleasure.